they are still out there.
The fire won't keep them away for long.
Imagine standing in a fog-covered village, the moon barely breaking through heavy clouds, and the church bells suddenly start ringing, again and again, all night long. The villagers don't sleep. They whisper prayers, clutch candles, and wait. Because tonight isn't just Halloween. It's the night when the dead walk among the living. Welcome to the real Halloween of the Middle Ages, a night of fear, superstition, and rituals so strange they'll make your modern Halloween look like child's play. Back then, people didn't wear costumes for fun. They dressed to survive. Cloaks turned inside out, soot smeared on faces, skulls hung from doorposts. Not decoration, but protection. These weren't costumes. They were disguises against the dead. You see, medieval people believed that on All Hallows' Eve, the barrier between the living and the dead grew dangerously thin. Spirits roamed freely, some kind, others vengeful. To walk safely home at night, you had to trick the dead into thinking you were one of them. And if a wandering ghost recognized your warm, beating heart, you might never make it home again. But the costumes were just the beginning. The real terror lay in the rituals. In one part of England, villagers baked what they called soul cakes. Each small, round cake represented a lost soul trapped in purgatory. Poor travelers and children went door to door begging for them, not for candy, but for prayers. Every cake they ate meant one soul lifted closer to heaven. Refuse to give? The dead would remember your house. Meanwhile, in Scotland, people carried hollowed-out turnips carved with ghastly faces, the ancestors of modern pumpkins. Inside burned candles made from animal fat. The smell, awful. The meaning, even worse. They believed the flame guided lost souls and kept evil spirits away. But if your candle went out, it meant something had found you. Then there were the bonfires, massive roaring fires that painted the night sky orange. People danced around them wearing masks of animals, wolves, stags, and ravens, calling on ancient Celtic gods to protect their crops and homes from the coming winter. They threw bones into the fire, bonfires, the origin of the word bonfire. The smell of burning flesh was believed to confuse demons who tried to sniff out the living. In Ireland, fortune-telling was a serious business on Halloween. Young women peeled apples in one long strip and threw them over their shoulders. The letter the peel formed on the ground would be the first letter of their future husband's name. But darker forms of divination existed too, like staring into a mirror by candlelight. They believed your future love, or your death, would appear behind you. Many who tried it swore they saw a skull. Some never spoke again. And not all spirits came to visit politely. Medieval folks feared the wild hunt. A ghostly procession of riders sweeping through the skies, led by a dark, faceless figure. If you heard their howls in the wind, it meant war, plague, or death was coming. People locked their doors, doused their fires, and whispered prayers that the riders would pass them by. In the monasteries, Halloween was solemn. Monks prayed all night, reading names of the dead aloud so their souls wouldn't return in anger. But outside, peasants made lantern paths of glowing skulls to guide spirits back to their graves before dawn. By sunrise, the entire village smelled of smoke, candle wax, and fear. Children weren't spared either. They were taught to leave out bowls of milk for the fair folk, not the cute fairies you imagine, but ancient, dangerous beings that could twist your fate if you offended them. Forget to leave milk? Your crops might die, your cow might stop giving milk, or worse, someone in your house might vanish by morning. Then there were the bell ringers. When the church bells tolled at midnight, it wasn't tea for ceremony. It was to drive back the demons said to prowl the village streets. But the ringing went on for hours, echoing across valleys until people went mad from the sound. King Henry VIII eventually banned the practice, but only because the living were suffering more than the dead. In the Germanic regions, families practiced something called dumb supper. They prepared a silent feast for their departed loved ones. No one spoke, no one looked at each other, and an empty chair was left at the table for the spirit. If the candle beside that chair flickered, it meant the guest had arrived. If it blew out suddenly, they were not pleased. Even the church got creative in its fear. Priests blessed fields with salt, drew chalk crosses on doors, and told villagers to sleep with iron under their pillows, a charm to keep witches away. Iron, they believed, burned the touch of evil. By the 14th century, Europe was deep in superstition. The Black Death had torn through villages, and Halloween became a night of mourning and madness. People wore long, bird-beaked plague masks filled with herbs, believing they could block evil miasmas. Some even danced in cemeteries, believing death could be cheated if you faced it directly. But perhaps the strangest custom of all was the night of the silent roads. On Halloween night, no one was allowed to speak outdoors. If you met a stranger on the path, you couldn't greet them, because it might not be human. Break the silence, and you might find yourself answering a ghost. So when you light your jack-o'-lantern this Halloween, remember, that tiny flickering flame comes from centuries of fear, faith, and fire. Behind your plastic skeletons and pumpkin spice candles lies a world where people truly believed the dead could knock on your door. The medieval world didn't celebrate Halloween for thrills. They survived it. Because to them, October 31st wasn't just about ghosts and goblins. It was about keeping the darkness, the real one, at bay for one more night. If you ever find yourself in a lonely field on Halloween, and you hear faint bells in the distance, don't look back. Just keep walking. The medieval spirits still remember who dared to listen. And if you enjoyed this journey into the eerie world of medieval Halloween, hit that like button, share it with your bravest friends, and subscribe for more chilling tales from history's darkest corners. Because the past still haunts us.